Ah, yes. Early access games. Some dude pitches an idea for a game that they say is going to make your nuts quake and gives you, the player, the privilege of being part of its beta testing after paying a monetary price. So you can experience every bad thing about playing a game and then tell the dev so he can probably fix it at some point and then release a full game for you to play. After you pay again, that is, this time for the full version. And bear in mind what I just said is the very best case of a given early access game. This is not all of them, and most certainly not a lot of them. And people keep falling for it. What's up, my N-words with the hardest heart? Today I'm here to tell you about a reskin of an old game we youngs played when you were not even playable. Fatekeeper is a physics-based action game released on June 2 of 2026. You can tell my uploads are very timely. By my earlier rambling, you can deduct this game is in early access, so everything that I say in this video will be old at some point in time. Now, whether it ages like milk or wine is up to those 13 people working on this. In this game, you are a druid. As of today, this means nothing. You're fat and cannot crouch or do stealth, but at least you can jump. A little bit. You have to traverse through many corridors at breakneck speeds, accompanied by your trusty guide that will not be abused at any point in the game, beating up inferior beings because they dare insult you by resisting their own extinction. These inferior beings come in one whole race of orc-looking things, because apparently they might be primitive, but they can keep an entire complex built under a mountain, clean of other entities at all times. So no feral beasts or ancient guardians for now, just orc. And a minotaur. So how do you do pest control? Weapons. There are only melee weapons, mostly bladed, and using other than a two-handed sword is a great way of diminishing whatever amount of fun is to be extracted from this experience. Daggers suck. One-handed swords suck. Maces suck. And axes are meh. But wait, what about ranged weapons? I am glad you asked. There are bows in the game, you can see the blueskins using them, but once you kill them, the concept of a bendy stick with a string attached that can propel smaller sticks with an edge tip is itself exterminated. So currently the player cannot use a bow, and I don't know if this is intended or not, but it's at the very best a huge oversight. You have a light attack, very straightforward, deals damage to enemies when hit in exchange for stamina. And then there's a heavy attack, which is a very effective way of spending an entire fiscal year stuck in an animation while spending half your stamina bar in exchange of leaving yourself open and breathable. You can also use spells, but since so far I know you can only go up to level 13 in the early access, the builds lack proper damage or perk effects, but at least you can inflict status effects like burning, freezing, and so on. So combat is reduced to melee with spells as assistance against groups of enemies. But worry not, you can block their attacks and even link your brain's release of dopamine to a botched parry sequence, both of which are inferior to just pressing the dodge button and remain unharmed. And even if you get so much as a scratch in a fight, as of version 0.1.2 there are so many components to craft healing potions just laying around that health stops being an issue. And yes, there's crafting in this game. For now you can only craft potions for health, mana or buffs that you most likely won't use, and vials, which are applied to your weapon to enable different effects that totally do not matter at all because they're trivialized with a DPS build. Don't waste your ingredients. There's also equipment in the shape of armor and rings that give you stats, but as of now this part is forgettable. If you test this beta, you might realize there are places with highly convenient contraptions laying around. This is not a coincidence, and you can use the environment to your favor to chase that neuron activation. Enemies can be kicked or wind pushed into the pits, be burned by the combination of the oil puddle and a fireball, die by spike traps, sometimes on their own, get flattened by stuff falling from above, and so on. This is why people are shining with glee at this situation, saying, "Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is back, baby, let's fucking go!" As if that is a good thing. I'll save it for later. As you send your enemies to their longest Hong Shui, you earn experience and your level goes up, allowing you to assign points to things in the skill tree. As of today, you can go up for health and stamina. You can complete the early access without allocating a single point in this. Go left for mana, spell power, and having the mage experience, but like I said, as of now, the level ceiling forbids that. Go down for absolutely fuck all. Most of this part of the skill tree is still a work in progress. Or go right for DPS and weapon effects. There is no reason not to go for this one. You can 1-tap weak enemies and 2-tap everything else except the bosses. First one was the Minotaur looking fuck-ass, who was the peak of bad game design. It was so bad on 0.1 that the devs had to dial it back by a ton, and on 0.1.1 it was back to being defeatable without making you doubt your will to live. The second one is, by comparison, too weak. All in all, the bosses are nothing but duels that can be, as of now, completely trivialized with a DPS build and the Everest blade in your hands. I'm not saying trivializing this is bad though, it will be fine on such an early version for the sake of testing. There are other things to this game. The graphics are generally good and the aesthetic of the level shown in early access is well put together. It still lacks a lot, but it's okay. Alongside causing the status effects of bleeding, enemies can be dismembered and beheaded, which looks good, especially when seeing that enemies are still alive and can attack you even if an arm has been cut off. That's cool. Now, for the other bad stuff, first of all, moving feels really slow. I'd say sprinting speed is realistic, but that's only because the player character is a fat fuck who feels like a semi-truck when doing literally anything else. That, added to the stealth mechanic being non-existent, makes the game feel genuinely incomplete. Not unfinished, mind you, incomplete. Also, there's an important lack of weaponry options. I already said there are no bows, but it's not only that. You can't use spears, you cannot use shields so far I know, there's also no hammers, no two-handed axes yet, I think, no staffs either. If the devs intend to make the player character a huge tank chopping down everybody, go balls deep and allow us to wield big weapons and get rid of shit like daggers. Or let the player build their character and give us everything from actual unarmed possibilities to huge spears. And go nuts with weird weapons like throwable chakrams and shit. It's fiction. It's fantasy. That way the game would actually one-up Dark Messiah, you know? How about innovating for once, eh? The enemy's AI and pathing are fucked. Like, I've seen many instances of the enemies killing themselves on these spike traps. Like, fix that. It's funny. It's funny to see, but it gets old really, really, really fast. The audio sucks. The music is super loud in comparison to the voices, especially in cutscenes. Some sounds and voice lines are missing. It just sucks. It's a thing that truly bothers me when I'm playing. When I'm just playing and I'm not hearing the sounds that are supposed to be sounding. And I don't think there's an excuse for that. What they forgot recording them. They forgot adding them to the game. Like, what's happening? Fix it, please. The alleged duration of the whole game, which is supposed to be from 12 to 15 hours. So by playing this demo, you already played like 15% of the game. There's a bit more to this, but I think I covered what interests me the most. I keep playing when a new update is released so I can see whether or not I change my opinion on this game. So far, I don't think I will, but I'll try, I guess. Now for the rant time, this early access was 10 euros on launch, and being completely honest, I wouldn't pay 25 for the whole experience. And I'm considering not even paying 20. For what I can deduct by playing the game, and if I assume the devs' intentions correctly, Fatekeeper will be at best nostalgia slop for old fucks with smooth brains. Which is curious because most of my very small audience is around that age. Let me explain it for you. We love Dark Messiah, right? I bought it on release, played the fuck out of it, and completed it many, many times. It was a really good game because you could do stuff, remember? You could either fight like a melee warrior or sneak around and actually do stealth and surprise attack people like an assassin, or use spells like a mage, not only on enemies but on the environment, freezing the ground so the enemies slip up, for example, and shit, and you could mix it up. The orcs looked like actual orcs instead of bootleg Lord of the Rings orcs, and there were other types of enemies. All in all, Dark Messiah was a great game for its fucking time. It was released 20 years ago, for fuck's sake. If I wanted to play a game that it's like Dark Messiah just for the nostalgia, I would play Dark Messiah, which you can do too, by the way, on Steam, for less money. Releasing a reskin of an old game looks just lazy. Doesn't it look lazy to you guys? Hey guys, we're new devs, here's new game, just like old game. Don't you like old game? Well, here's old game. I don't want a reskin of an old game, and neither should you. And neither should people want to release a reskin of an old game. I understand that even when people gawk in awe and goon to the newest slop, a part of them seated deeply within longs for times of old, when it was easier to innovate and have banger after banger releases. And you want those times to be back. If it was not like that, this game wouldn't exist. Do you want those times to be back? If yes, How about you stop being a fucking consumer and elevate your standards so devs actually get a fire lit under their asses, for once. If your favorite devs go bankrupt because their early access did not get enough funds, so be it. If the whole industry goes through a depression, that would be more than welcome just to get rid of all the cancer. Oh, but then I won't be able to play video game. Bitch, read a book. Go outside. Touch grass. Hug a tree. Instead, what people are doing is lowering their standards and just eating shit and happily doing so. The industry is filled with trash and low effort stuff, and it's your fault too. Anyways, more stuff to come in the future, I guess. Stay put until that. Don't go anywhere. Don't move a muscle. Do not breathe. See ya.